sure nobody here wants to take money from arts, sciences, humanities. So why are we letting our school systems put most of our money towards sports as opposed to our arts and our sciences? It should be common sense that we need to have our funding spread evenly throughout the school systems. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about why there's unequal spending in school systems, why funding should be equal, and how we can fix this problem. I interviewed the Palm Desert High School principal, Mr. Hicks, and I asked him about the funding for the schools, and he said that most of the funding goes to the sports at Palm Desert High School anyways, because the sports are what generate the most revenue for the school. Meaning the more money they put in, the more money they get out, so naturally that's what they're going to be putting their money into as opposed to the arts. I'll begin by telling you about why sports get funded more, why sports are more popular. And it's pretty much because arts sort of get overlooked, sciences get more overlooked than sports. In 2012, the Associate Professor of Legal and Ethical Studies at Fordham University was interviewed for NBC by Mark Kova, and he said, if you think about where people are on Friday in areas like the South and the Midwest, there are local football games. It's no wonder that the market has expanded so much. What he's saying about this is that it's mostly in the South and Midwest where it's huge, but everywhere in the United States, high school sports are becoming more and more popular. And in that same article, Mark Kova points out that in around the late 80s, early 90s, local channels and channels like ESPN began to show more high school football games, generating even more interest in these high school as opposed to generating interest in the arts or the sciences. Sports, however, also cost more. Amy Donaldson wrote an article in 2013 titled High School Sports, What It Really Costs to Play High School Football, and she found out that it costs roughly $300 to $400 to play high school football per year, on top of the $100 donation here or there, the $50 fundraiser here or there. She also found out that for each student, state charges alone range anywhere from $35 to $175. And there are other optional charges the school may charge you, ranging from $0 nothing to $850 a student. Now that we know why schools are putting so much money into their sports, I'm going to tell you why we need to put our funding into every section of the school system. Hari Patel in 2015 wrote the article Rich Poor Divide in High School Sports, and did a survey of the Massachusetts School District and found that the top 10 wealthiest schools in the district all had over 100% sports participation. Over 100%. That means that there are students playing multiple sports as well, not just one single sport. And the more sports students do, the less they're doing with the art, the less they're focusing on their science. And the reason why these wealthy schools are so heavily influenced by their sports is because, like I said, the more money they put into the sport, the more money they're going to get out. That's why they're the such wealthy schools. Adrian Johnson in 2008 is quoted as saying, "During this time of economic hardship, funding to public schools must remain evenly divided for the fairness to the students." And that's true. We need the students to be able to explore what they want to do. We need to have students be able to have open opportunities, not just sports, because that's where all of our money is going. George Haymont in 2010 wrote the news story, More Funding for School Arts, Less for Sports, and he points out about how art helps students blossom, helps students grow, explore themselves. It also helps them reach within themselves for their inspiration. My visual aid here, I'm going to show you guys, I didn't do any art at all before my sophomore and junior year until I took art. As you see, I have an ink stippling of a Native American I did here, a sculpture of a narwhal I did here, and then a couple other pieces that I did, and I never thought I could do any sort of art until then. And he also pointed out that sports often hurt students as well. Like in Danny's speech, how it's such a big problem, students getting concussions in football, soccer, and the sports that's hurting them as well. And Heyman also told a story about a girl. She wanted to remain unnamed in the story, but she lived in the Honduras with her brothers, and she was raped over there until she moved here to the Americas, and she lived quietly. She kept to herself. She was depressed until one day her teachers told her about the about the Albany Park Theater Project, and told her that she should go and check it out. And she did, and she ended up finding this love for the theater, and she ended up making this play based on her life story, showing what she had to go through, and it really helped her cope. She ended up becoming this person, ended up having this personality of this theater, and finding something she loved. And now we know some of the benefits of the arts. I'm going to tell you guys how we can help keep the arts funded. There are multiple government programs and fundraisers and things we can do. One of these programs is the National Endowment for the Arts. What this program does is it helps students in arts keep their funding. It helps advocate for funding from the government. It helps put on fundraisers, as well as it helps generate interest in the arts for students that don't know about the arts. Say you go to high school, all you think of, is just stereotypical football, baseball, you don't really know about the arts. What this likes to do, the endowment for the arts likes to do is likes to help children explore, likes to help children decide whether they want to do sports or science or art. And again, fundraising is something else that we could do to help raise money for the arts. We could do multiple fundraisers throughout the year, or you could do something as simple as going to a high school art show, going to elementary school art show. You could do here at COD we have art shows. I've been to 2 different art shows here to help support, and it helps really boost a child's confidence as well. Like when they do make art and they see that there's this many people coming and saying, "Oh wow, this is great." It's going to lead the child into wanting to do more. And it's also we need to really support our artists as well as our athletes. We support our athletes a lot, but we don't have as much support for the artists. And now that I've told you about this, I'll review for you guys. I told you first about why sports get funded more, then I told you why the arts need to be funded, and finally I told you how we can fix this problem. But we can all agree that the arts need funding. And I'm not saying we need to cut funding for sports, I'm just saying we need to find a way to allocate more funds for arts and sciences, whether it be fundraisers, donations, going to the government, or actually having to cut funds. We will find out as we do this. And when we do this, we can ensure that our children's imagination, our creativity grows and expands. And if we do this, we can make sure we paint the world a better place. Thank you.